Have you ever felt like an idiot after an exam? You studied hard, took notes, and memorized every line in the textbook. But when you walk into the exam room, the first question appears, and your mind goes blank. Meanwhile, your lazy, underprepared friend walks out with a triumphant smile. They guess the questions correctly. They seem to know what's coming. You wonder, are they just lucky? Or do they have some secret you don't? Here's the truth: exams are not random. Teachers don't pick questions out of a magic hat, and they don't create entirely new ones every time. Teachers are human, and like everyone else, they have habits, limited time, and a tendency to repeat what's familiar. This means exams are often predictable if you know how to approach them strategically. In this series, I'll share surprisingly effective strategies to accurately predict what's going to be on the exam. This isn't cheating. It's about learning the art of observing patterns, organizing knowledge, and managing your study time so you don't have to memorize everything by rote. Study smarter, not harder. If you want to improve your grades without sacrificing too much time or energy, read on carefully. And here's where it gets fun. Take the textbook you've neglected all semester, dust it off, and turn to a random page. Don't overthink it. Just look. Now, stop thinking like a student for a moment and imagine yourself as a tired teacher with only a few minutes left to finalize the exam. What would you do? That's right. You'd likely choose a familiar, previously taught section. Most often the material right in front of you. It may sound strange, but it's true. When pressed for time, teachers often reuse questions, modify old ones, or pull directly from accessible parts of the textbook. This tendency works in your favor if you know how to take advantage of it. Don't underestimate this seemingly random approach to studying. It's far more effective than trying to prepare for everything without direction. Instead of counting on luck, rely on recognizing your teacher's habits and behavioral patterns. More importantly, exam clues are not random. They are right in the classroom, but many students overlook them. Remember the last time your teacher said, "This part is important," or "Make sure to take notes on this. You'll need it later." Those reminders are clear signals because teachers don't waste time emphasizing things unnecessarily. Pay attention to the time and energy your teacher spends on different topics. If a section is rushed through, it might not be as important. But if a concept is thoroughly explained, supported by examples, or repeated multiple times, you should treat it as a strong indicator that it will appear on the test. These critical signals aren't usually found in PowerPoint slides or handouts, but rather in the way your teacher presents, emphasizes, and repeats certain material. To catch them, train your observation skills, take detailed notes, and focus on any content that gets special treatment during lessons. Don't miss these clues; they could make all the difference. You may have thought, "That's all the teacher said," or "It's not that important." But be honest, how many times have you regretted not paying attention? How many test questions have you missed because you didn't focus on the little details your teacher emphasized during class? Next time you study, don't fall into the trap of not paying attention. If your teacher repeats something over and over, it's not just a habit or a coincidence, it's intentional. What they repeat is important and is a hint that you shouldn't ignore. Just like in music, certain notes are played repeatedly for emphasis. The same is true in class. If your teacher stops to emphasize or re-explain a concept that the class doesn't understand, take note of it immediately, highlight it in whatever way helps it stand out. Chances are it will appear on the test. One helpful approach is to develop a note-taking system based on your teacher's emphasis. Whenever you hear phrases like "this is important" or "pay close attention to this," mark those parts as key areas of focus. Over time, you'll notice that not all information is equally likely to appear on the test. Some material is almost guaranteed to show up. Also, consider how much time your teacher spends on each topic. If topic A is covered in 5 minutes, but topic B takes 30 minutes with multiple examples, you don't need a genius to recognize that topic B is more important. Don't let the "this is easy, so it probably won't be on the test" mentality fool you. The areas that teachers consistently repeat are exactly what they want you to remember. Recognize that teachers are human. They aren't trying to trick you. On the contrary, they often leave very clear hints, practically begging you to pay attention. However, most students don't notice these hints. They don't take notes, don't listen carefully, and end up feeling confused during test. But the truth is, the clues are right in front of them all along. This is where technology can help. If you've missed important cues in class or struggle with recognizing patterns, You have a powerful tool at your disposal, the artificial intelligence you're using. Sometimes, effective learning isn't about cramming more information, it's about focusing on the right material. To do this, you must put yourself in the teacher's shoes and think about how they design their tests. Tests aren't complex literary works, they're products created under time and resource constraints. As a result, teachers often rely on practical methods, such as using questions from textbooks, class assignments, or lecture content. This doesn't mean they're lazy, it's simply an efficient approach. Understanding this process in advance gives you a significant advantage. You don't need to predict every question on the test. Instead, focus on identifying the material most likely to appear. Good students aren't necessarily those who know everything, but those who know how to prioritize and concentrate on the essentials. Instead of viewing the classroom as just a place for acquiring knowledge, see it as a space where you observe and collect important clues. These clues can include subtle signs like your teacher's expression when asking, "Does anyone have questions?" or the slower pace when they explain a critical concept. Even an off-topic story might lead to an important example. Pay close attention to these small details, as they are the code of the lecture. If you learn to decode it, you'll no longer have to guess blindly. At times, you don't even need your teacher to repeat something twice. A longer than usual look, a pause after an explanation, or a question like, "Does everyone understand this?" These are all valuable signals. Students who are sensitive to these cues aren't always the smartest ones, but they are often the ones who achieve the highest scores. Their secret lies in filtering information like a hunter following a trail. Tests don't reflect the entirety of knowledge, but instead provide a snapshot of the test maker's preferences and style. While some teachers deliberately make their tests unpredictable, they often rely on familiar sources like workbooks, past exams, or question formats they've used before. Once you recognize these patterns, you won't be caught off guard anymore. Exam success doesn't come from studying more than others. It comes from studying smarter. Studying smart doesn't mean skipping the material, but instead focusing on the most important parts. This requires focus, a touch of strategy, and most importantly, stopping the habit of watching the class as a passive listener. Instead, approach every lecture like an insider, because each class, if you listen carefully, is secretly revealing what will appear on the test. If the term insider feels a bit extreme, I'd try it just once. Starting from your next class, don't just listen to understand the content. Analyze every word, every tone, and every emphasis. You don't have to fully understand everything right away. Just pay attention to what the teacher highlights, repeats, or pauses to emphasize. These are often clues about key points. If you get the chance, ask your teacher simple questions like, "Will this part be on the test?" Or, "Could you repeat that example?" You might be surprised by how much they unintentionally reveal through small gestures like nodding, reinforcing a certain statement, or using eye contact to signal something important. This isn't cheating, it's about using the information already available to you. An attentive mind will notice valuable details others might overlook. When you know what to look for, you'll start spotting clues everywhere. When you apply this method, you'll notice a significant difference. You study less but retain more. Instead of wasting time with hundreds of pages, you'll focus on the parts that truly matter. Like a savvy investor, you'll target the right areas in the right moments, significantly improving your efficiency. Another powerful strategy is to make the most of the review outline. If your teacher provides one, while this might seem obvious, many students merely skim through it, treating it as a checklist rather than a treasure map. If your teacher has prepared a syllabus or study guide, it's not just a general reference, it's a roadmap to the core content of the test. Combine cues from the syllabus with what you observe in class, and you'll have a shortcut to exam preparation. Once you start using these techniques, everything starts to connect. You're no longer studying in isolation, but decoding. Each clue from the textbook, every word from the teacher, and every detail in the syllabus come together to create a clear and structured path to success. The best part, you won't need to study day and night or rely on frantic cramming. You'll just study smartly. Because effective learning isn't about quantity, it's about quality. And when you walk into that exam room, pick up your pen and realize that everything on the paper feels familiar. You'll experience an incredible feeling of confidence. At that moment, you'll understand that you didn't merely guess the questions, you successfully decoded the test. So next time you open your book, walk into class or look at your review outline, don't just study, observe, listen, and connect. Believe in your ability to succeed, not through luck, but through strategy. Study smart, don't overstudy. Thank you for watching today's video. See you in the next videos with other interesting and effective strategies to conquer the exam in ways that few people teach you.